Hey, this is Cameron, and welcome to the practice log. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Alright, we got a lot of stuff to do today, so let's go ahead and jump into it, shall we? This is kind of a special day. It's a Sunday for me, and it's the day before I'm going back to school for the spring semester. Semester 2 of grad school. Do you know I'm in grad school, by the way? So, I'm just kind of getting ready for that. I've been practicing a lot. That's been pretty good. And some good and bad news. The last time I played the Rodrigo Sonata Giacosa, I actually didn't get a copyright claim for it. Which is good because I make more money on that video, but it's bad because I played it so poorly that, it didn't get a claim. So what that means is I get another opportunity today to try to play that, and we're gonna see if I can play it well enough that YouTube thinks that I'm Marcin Dyla for at least 10 seconds or so. And if that happens, then I'll consider that a victory for that piece. I feel like it's coming along pretty well. A lot of you complained about the tempo in it. I feel like I fixed a lot of those issues, but also you guys have to remember, I'm playing with rubato because it is classical music, solo classical music, so I'm kind of trying to be my own little conductor here. I know that's hard for you guys to understand. Sorry, I don't mean to belittle you in the beginning. Hey, what have you gotten yourself into right now? This is a practice log, which consists of 3 things. First, we do a little bit of small talk. That's this right now. Hey, how's it going? It's nighttime. I'm a little bit tired, but that's okay, because I was looking at some comment questions, and I saw some interesting ones that we can maybe get into here. Second, which is actually that, I'm going to answer some comment questions. I found some interesting ones, so maybe we'll get into that here. And third, I'm going to play something for you. I already said what I'm going to play, Sonata Giacosa, and I haven't even played it yet, so you're gonna see this all in sequence as it's happening in real life. Let's get after it today. Yeah, all in all, things have been good. It's been a nice break. As I mentioned, I've taken a lot of time to exercise between these semesters just because, I'm just trying to stay in shape. So that's been good. I've been getting to a place where I need to plan my meals out a little bit better, though, because I get really, really tired because I'm so depleted throughout the day. So I just had a meal. I had a Subway rotisserie chicken double meat sandwich, foot long. They only charged me like $10 for it, which seemed cheap, so I don't know if they made a mistake, but there's a ton of chicken on it. I don't know why I'm telling you this, it doesn't matter. But anyways, I'm looking forward to that after this. And I've been practicing my booty off, and hopefully you'll hear that today. Alright, that's the small talk. Let's go ahead and jump into some comment questions, shall we? So this is a pretty good one, and I'm gonna need to think about this in real time. Don't worry, I'll edit it so it doesn't seem like I thought about it. But this is from Guitar Solo Reactions, and you said, I was going to ask about your thoughts on when a mistake is made. Well, you are asking me on my thoughts of that right now. There is no I was going to. You did it. You did it, man. You freaking did it. It looks and sounds like you back up a bar or two when you start again. What works best for harder pieces? So, you're referencing one particular part in my last video, which let me just play it on my phone so you can see. So, as you can see, I cursed and then I restarted by going back to the beginning of what I would consider the B section of that fugue. It's a whole brand new section that has a final conclusion, and then it's going to go back to the beginning after that, and then finally end on that big A minor chord. That's what I went back to. And I went back to it for that reason, because I very much see them as an A and a B section. It's just an easy place to start. Now, the whole idea of etiquette when performing, I've had some opinions about this, and they pretty much come from my first classical guitar teacher that I had in university and undergrad. He was really old school about it, I think, and in that, there should be no moment in that performance where you're, saying something out loud or, even, giving away that you're, not feeling good about the performance. It should be just about the music and getting it out, and your own emotion should not really play any role in it. And I think a lot of old school / classical performers would feel that way. You're not, this is not a comedy show where you're oh, I messed up, and then you draw attention to it, and then, you start over, and you have, banter with the audience in the middle of your fugue that you're trying to play. The point of going to a classical music concert is to listen to the music on the program, and it's not to hear the tight five of whoever is performing it, And that's tough. That's a really tough thing, because I don't know how you save a performance once you make, a blunder. You know, like when you blunder your performance, you kind of are encountered with two options. The first one is to just keep going and just pretend like it didn't happen, which there's a lot of dignity in that, I think. If you just like don't really seem to care, I almost feel like that's probably the best way to go about it. The second way is to become flustered by it, which is probably the most common. I feel like that's what would happen to me the most because I am just a human. It's probably what would happen to most of you too, unless you are professional performers who have like had that beaten out of them ever since they were a kid, because that's like real human nature stuff right there, like wanting to stop and like getting flustered, like especially when you're playing music that's so hard. And the third thing I would say is to make the huge mistake, stop and be like, well, whoopsies, or some like joke, right? And then like the audience like chuckles a little bit and then you start over. And when you do something like that, it's kind of disarming for everyone, just to like it's sort of like being self-aware, like self-aware humor, like you make fun of your own mistake. But that in the eyes of a lot of people is a completely inappropriate thing to do in a classical setting, which I would agree with. And now your question, what do I do when I make a mistake? If it's a practice log like this, I will either just start over entirely and edit that out, or I'll do what I did there, where I like, if I do curse or something, there's some comedic value to that, so I left it in for that, because this is a comedy show, so it's more appropriate in this setting. Like, that's not something that I'd want to do on stage in a serious performance. Especially if you asked me a year ago, I would definitely say that's not something I'd want to do, but I feel like as I'm progressing and stuff, and especially as I'm getting more performance experience, it's like, if you're able to diffuse a really tense situation with just a couple of words, just to like say them, I don't know, I feel like that can be a powerful tool. And if you don't know what I mean by what I'm saying, I mean, like, again, if you're just performing something hard and then you make a mistake and just say a thing just to kind of let some of the stuff going on in your head out to the audience a little bit. Because I think that's the disconnection between like a performer and the audience, and that's why it freaks you out so much as a performer, because you're trying to like seem cool and collected when really you might be freaking out internally. And if you can kind of express yourself a little bit in some way, so at least people know that this is a really hard thing that you're doing, so they'll like be more forgiving about it. It might like ease you a little bit. So like saying words like in the middle of your piece might help with that. And honestly, I think classical performance, in like a classical performance situation, that's like the only situation where you wouldn't want to say something to diffuse the situation. Let me actually grab my guitar and let me see what I would do. You know, what I think the best option would be probably is just when you do make the mistake, maybe just doing like a stutter and repeating yourself. Like, I would equate it to when you're telling a story or reading a poem out loud or something, and you're trying to perform it. Like, what do you do when you stumble on a word? You know, do you just move past it? And maybe that word is muddied and like, what if that word is needed for some context and nobody understood what you said? Should you repeat the entire phrase? And sometimes when we do repeat things and stumble through them, we'll enunciate them differently the second time, like put more emphasis on it, which might not even be good for the interpretation of what you're playing. So I don't know. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play the fugue from memory of 997, just the A section, because I think I can, but I'll probably have some memory slips. And you won't hear most of it, I'll cut most of it out, but I'll get to the part where I make a mistake, and I'll see if I can do that. Maybe like starting over like half a measure or so. And I think that's probably what I would want to do in a situation where I mess up. Better yet, learn your music so well that you won't mess up. That's another thing too. There we go. So I played a wrong note and then just immediately just played the right note after that and just tried to move on. It wouldn't be advised to go like, no, I messed up, but just, you know, like I messed up there. Then I just, that whole thing I just restarted at the beginning of the measure. There was a moment. I dropped a note. actually said out loud that time. So you kind of saw a whole spectrum of ways to deal with mistakes. And I'll say that the source of most of those mistakes is me just not knowing the music well enough. So if I were planning on performing that, especially in a high pressure non-masterclass setting, I would be very uncomfortable with that. I would want like at least 2 months notice before I play that piece in front of anybody in that kind of setting. So if I knew the music a lot better, I maybe wouldn't even need little strategies to get out of mistakes. So that's your most powerful tool right there. Other things that I like to do, I like to divide the music up into phrases, and if I do lose my memory halfway through, I can always go back to the beginning of the phrase. I think that's a fine way to do it. Just silently, just start the phrase over and just pretend like it never happened. And again, I wouldn't speak in the middle of your performance, but also I do recognize that saying something, especially when you're feeling really nervous, it can get rid of some of the jitters. And I've done that before too. And I don't know, I always just hate myself for doing it. I feel like such a wimp whenever that happens. So I think the real key, honestly, is just learn your music better than anything else that you know. And that just comes from years and years of practicing stuff and being really diligent with practice and not just sort of learning things by rote, just by hearing them or by fingers, but, you know, like really analyzing it and understanding how everything is moving around. And for something like a fugue that's really complicated, it's going to take probably years to fully understand it on that level, at least just from passive analysis. Like, I don't really analyze any of my music. I just kind of passively will analyze it, and my understanding will just kind of deepen over time, and that stuff is really helpful. Probably analyzing it would be helpful too. But yeah, dude, that's the question. Hey, you know what? One more. This one's a hater, I think. John David Kromkowski. 8116. Butcher your name. Friend of the channel, maybe. Let's see. Practice? Question mark. Looks more like performance with no danger of tomatoes being thrown. What, you mean my practice log? That was like the start of this YouTube channel? Yeah, I guess. Low-key busking. Yeah, well, you know, welcome to the practice log. That's what this is. That's how this channel started, in fact. It pretty quickly became a reaction YouTube channel, like pretty quickly. But yeah, that is pretty much what this is. I only have a few actual recordings, and you guys are welcome to throw tomatoes at those. And in fact, the first fugue recording I put out, I listened to it now, and I'm like, this thing sucks. I would like to redo that at some point. I feel like the way I play the new fugue is a lot better, because of course it is. I'm a better guitarist now. I've had a lot more lessons and stuff since then. But yeah, not everything needs to be like a high stakes performance, and I have this thing that I say, and I kind of live by it. I think it's a good idea when you have a hobby or something that you do for there to be a balance of input and output. And what I mean by that is we spend a lot of time on our craft practicing, and that's a lot of input. Like, you're putting in a lot of hours, but oftentimes there's not really going to be any output because you're practicing for what is an ability to do something that's kind of fleeting. Like, I can't even play the fugue to 1001 anymore, and I put like tons of hours into that thing. And in fact, all of that would be completely forgotten had I not made that recording and had I not posted so many practice logs of me practicing that fugue. And that's the output. That's the way I figured out how to have output with practice. And I think that can apply to a lot of things that you do. Like, I mean, there's so many things off the top of my head. Like, if you draw, for example, having a drawing log where you just like show people the process of doing it. I think that that's something that people just like want to see. Not everybody. You know, it's very niche, of course. Like, usually it's going to involve the people that are in it. But I think it's a cool thing to show, and it also will allow you to have output for your practicing input, which, if you play your cards right with it, it can just become its own thing. It's because of that balance of input and output that I found, and my commitment to it, that I'm probably one of the few guitarists that can actually make a living and make some money off of videos about them practicing. So, like, basically just practicing guitar. So that's kind of the power of that. But you definitely still can throw tomatoes at me, and I welcome all of the feedback on all of those practicing videos. And I'm about to play something for you now, and of course you can give me feedback on that. But, you know, it's not a high stakes performance or anything like that. But I think it is helpful, and if you have a hobby that you want to get better in, I think starting some kind of project like this, and it doesn't have to be exactly like this, but some kind of thing that you like have output with, I found that it's inspired me to practice a lot, especially when I was working on the Morel Sonatina and the fugue to 1001. I was practicing so much back then. You know, I waste a little more time now because I have to put a lot of time into making reaction videos, so I probably don't practice like as much. My practice is probably better quality now, though. I was also drunk for a lot of that practice, too. So, you know. Alright, well, hopefully that was something for you. I'm gonna play the Rodrigo Sonata Giacosa first movement, and I'm gonna play it perfectly for you. Check this out. Surprise, surprise. I probably played that too fast. Leave comments about how my 16th note's supposed to sound like they're dotted. No, they're not. I don't know. It's just so much more fun to play that piece fast than it is slow. I promise you that I practice it very slow. I've been working on my rest stroke a lot. I feel like that's coming along okay. You know, just to reiterate, this is a practice log. That's just where it is right now. I have a whole semester to work on it. I started looking at the other two movements. I have. My main focus for new music has been the Fugue to 997. So you know, that's what I've been doing. But yeah, that's where it's at. Hope you enjoyed. Alright, let's go ahead and wrap this one up here. Of course, if you made it this far, be sure to subscribe and leave a like. Leave some more comment questions so I can answer in the next one. Probably play the fugue in the next one again. I'm just gonna keep switching between these, I guess. Of course, guitar lessons, I don't offer them, but I know a lot of grad students who are, so just reach out, emails in the description, and also Rootin's Delight, merch, all that stuff, and I think that's about it. So, I'm gonna go eat the rest of my Subway sandwich now, and keep watching, I believe, the 10th Fast and Furious movie while on the treadmill. Man, those are getting bad. But you know what? When I'm on the treadmill, I don't really care how bad the movies are. But, yeah, they're definitely getting pretty bad. Hey, got any movie recommendations? When I'm on the treadmill, I only watch high-octane thrillers. So if you know any good ones on Netflix, HBO, or Amazon, because I have those 3 right now, let me know. I'll check them out. Alright. I'll see you in the next reaction video, probably.